Guys, did you see the new WWE promo which Netflix released?
The first announcement, Triple H comes and he starts with Namaste India.
Namaste India.
It's the first time a WWE star is directly talking to Indians.
And they have brought in so much of Indian elements into it. And it made me wonder, why is Netflix banking on WWE so much?
I think
my perception of Netflix is a web series, movies.
Yeah.
Netflix also in terms of subscription doesn't have a high subscription rate. So am I going to subscribe to Netflix to watch sport right now? No.
regular OTTs are showing you a live event which everybody wants to watch. Netflix first went behind the scenes. Drama takes the center stage, right? Now they have gone to the next stage where they're like, okay, forget the sport. We are going to create a center stage ourselves where drama is the main thing. And the sports people are characters.
If you guys were in charge of Netflix and you could bring in two people to the center stage for drama, who would that be? Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Gameplay Sports. We have Arvind and Rahul with us, and today we are going to be discussing something very interesting which has happened in the world of sports. Guys, did you see the new WWE promo which Netflix released?
So I'll tell you, man. First off, the first announcement, Triple H comes and he starts with Namaste India.
Namaste India.
It's the first time a WWE star is directly talking to one country, Indians.
Yeah, and they have also shown all the things which we have tried. Clothesline, hanging, jumping on the bed, all kinds of things
Breaking
which we
the
have,
chair.
breaking chairs and stuff. They have brought in, and they have brought in so much of Indian elements into it. And it made me wonder, why is Netflix banking on WWE so much? It was not their forte, right? One thing which I also observed is it's not something new, right? OTTs doing sports is not new. We have had JioStar having cricket for the longest time. Kabaddi was available on OTT. But Netflix is doing something different, right? And we have also seen it was not just WWE as a sport. They also have multiple different ways of introducing sports to the audience. And that's the difference I want to talk about. Jio shows live cricket. Netflix is showing WWE. Are they same? Are they different? What is happening here?
Yeah, I think Jio and other OTTs are tapping into an existing viewership. So there are people who want to watch football, want to watch cricket, and they are going out there in the market and getting rights to show those events. But with Netflix, it feels like they're doing a little bit different. They are in that market in a little different way. It feels like they are more content focused and they are more worried about the viewers. So viewers are at the center of it. The sport is not at the center.
So Jio, Hotstar, all of them have been showing IPL, and we have been seeing sports on these kinds of OTT. And Netflix is changing that. How do you think the audience might take this up?
So, I thought I'll just quickly lay it down that one of the things that it's well documented that of all the OTTs that is in India, Netflix has the smallest subscription base because they're the most expensive subscription. So we can start thinking that, what would it mean for Netflix in India if like all this stuff is coming in?
Yeah, and WWE would be like the best way to capture the biggest market. And if you're fighting against cricket and kabaddi, which Jio Hotstar has, and you need to break into the sports thing, I think sports entertainment is what they chose.
And I can see Netflix is doing this, right? Because any good product should be keep bringing audiences. So one is get broader audience, one is keep him coming back. So I thought WWE is kind of making it seem like, look, okay, here's a live event, here's another live event. Now you want to relive how this storyline spread. So you go back. Suddenly you feel, I remember I watched this match where Rock and Stone Cold went even back, and you can just sort of keep coming back. So it's not just one thing that you've watched and then you leave.
We've seen Netflix with their specials, right? Have you guys seen any of the specials?
No, I remember you were telling me about that.
Like Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
So we have Drive to Survive, we have Sprint. So there are a bunch of sport that is already telecasted live in Olympics or the World Championship in other places. But Netflix wants to show a different aspect of that sport. They want to show what happens behind the scenes. They want to show all the drama. So they're in some sense trying to increase the viewership by bringing in elements of a sport which are more, saas bahu actually.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they're like talking about what's the problem what are the different issues happening between the two drivers who are driving for Ferrari. There are some ego tussles happening there. What's happening? So that sort of drama is what's bringing up there. So that's why I keep thinking about, they are thinking about not the regular sports fan, but they're thinking about wider audience and seeing who would like to see that.
So let's go and talk to someone who can shed more light on this topic. Today I'm very excited to have with me Manuja, who's been a sports journalist for 23 years. She covers cricket and hockey for Times of India. She has her own show called Beyond the Boundary. And maybe not such a well-known fact, but equally important, that she was a national level hockey player. Hi Manuja.
Thank you, Rahul.
Lovely to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
A few years ago, we started noticing that Netflix, which is known for entertainment, for movies, for original TV shows, is starting to produce sports programming. And last year, the most unusual thing was, for the first time, they started covering live sports, and they had this thing called a Netflix Slam. So, as someone who's just covering media and sports, I wanted to ask you, is this, have you also noticed this, and can you sort of explain, what's going on with Netflix?
Yeah, I think it's a huge shift from a time when you had the broadcasters who were the real players. You had Star, you have Sony, ESPN, of course, shut down in India about 5 years ago. So you had the major broadcasters bringing you sport. OTT for you was for entertainment, for movies, for web series. It was limited to that space. I think 2022 was when Amazon Prime first tried out a 3 test match series, 3 T20s, India versus New Zealand. But I think it also showed a very sharp contrast in terms of production quality. So what you see on OTTs like Jio, Sony Live, and now Jio Hotstar is they come from a production background where the main this thing is they have television channels. But for somebody like Netflix to produce, I think it has to be more indoor, a more focused arena thing. A larger space requires a larger magnitude of production. I'm not saying a rink. Say a boxing ring or a WWE ring does not require that kind of production. It does involve a lot of production, but I think it's a pleasant shift in terms of who your consumers are. I think sport consumption over a period of time has changed. Your average consumer is not only looking at watching cricket on television. I agree. I think 90 crore people watched India win the T20 final. On Hotstar alone. But if you look at WWE and also something like Sony Live, see, your consumers have changed. For example, when I'm, going back home from work late in the night, if I want to catch my EPL game or a Champions League game, I'm logging onto an OTT platform. I don't have to go, wait to go home, to watch, catch a recording or watch it. It's accessibility.
Okay.
But Netflix, I think one of the biggest drawback is they don't have a broadcast channel backing them.
Okay, so the equivalent of it would be how Star in a cricket match would set up cameras and commentators and be part of the presentation ceremony, and that's the production is all of those behind the scenes things.
They're producing the production for that whole, say, a match or a series. That doesn't work, whether it's football, whether it is unless and until they decide to tie up.
So for Netflix, it's a huge investment to do that, and it probably doesn't make sense if they're doing it one-off. If they were a sports channel, if they're a sports segment, they would have invested. But just doing one-off TV, one-off series would be very expensive for them to produce.
Yeah, see, for example, Sky Sports has a tie-up with Sony Live. So you do tie-ups with international broadcasters to bring it to sport. But then again, how many people, I think if I'm not wrong, Netflix also in terms of subscription doesn't have a very high subscription rate. So am I going to subscribe to Netflix to watch sport right now? No.
Okay.
Because my perception of Netflix is a web series, movies. Even when you say sport on Netflix, the first thing that comes to my mind is The Last Dance.
Yeah.
So, watching this thing of Michael Jordan, that for me is
And
Netflix.
that's much more within Netflix expertise of sort of doing interviews, doing the production, putting music, making this sort of
documentaries or a web series.
So, one kind of way I was thinking is, so the Ken had presented that Netflix has the least number of subscribers in India, which is, they said it's close to maybe they say that, maybe 4 to 5 million. While, Hotstar, like we know, like looking at just at the figures, like they have like maybe closer to 50 million subscribers. And part of the reason is because Netflix is so expensive.
And who doesn't like anything free?
Yeah.
So also I think Jio Cinema coming in has changed a lot of dynamics because a lot of Jio is free.
Yeah.
Which
okay.
means you get a lot of cricket, kabaddi, some tennis thrown in.
So they've kind of disrupted the market that no one else can sort of come in and they can't buy and present it for free. I want to ask you also one more thing. So given the Netflix audience you're saying is much more, it's a smaller audience, probably a higher income audience because they're affording the subscription. What kind of like content, sports content do you foresee Netflix making now that they're entering this
See,
market?
one is, theirs is a very niche audience. The other is the average age. They have a much more working, younger audience there. So you'll probably see more of, WWE, the ultimate sport, the extreme sport.
Okay.
So their consumers of sport, I think, is vastly different. I mean, cricket, everybody consumes it. So I won't say everybody, say 90% of people.
I mean, it sells itself. You don't really have to sell it.
You don't have to sell it. So probably, F1. That's probably like be a big seller on this thing because F1 is like wine. It's a very acquired taste. Either you like it or you don't like it. Some people say, oh, they're just going in laps, and especially if somebody has watched F1 live, it's so much of sound.
Yeah.
So your consumer is very different. I foresee Netflix going into more niche sports.
Okay, those are very insightful takes, Manuja, and it kind of, I think, really helps us and our audience understand, how is this a different form of consuming sports is coming up.
You watched some special with tennis, right?
Yeah, so I remember Netflix, in last year had something called Netflix Slam, which was just a one-off exhibition match between Nadal and Alcaraz, played in Las Vegas. And it became a very unique event because Nadal and Alcaraz didn't meet in any major tournaments and then Nadal retires. So it's kind of a unique event that happened.
Right.
It's something everybody wanted to watch. That's it.
Yeah, everybody wanted to watch.
It was like a finals of a slam.
Yeah. And I remember you were bouncing in November saying, I'm looking forward to this boxing match.
Yes, the boxing match between audience Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It was huge. Netflix crashed. So many people, tuned into that. So Netflix did something right where so many people tuned in. And this is where I felt sports is changing, right? You bring in Mike Tyson, hero of our era, who was
the baddest man in the 90s.
The baddest man in the 90s, really good at biting ears while boxing.
Owning tigers,
appearing in hangover movies, right? And you have that person and you have the whole millennial crowd behind it. Then you bring in Jake Paul, the YouTube star, who has done ridiculous YouTube videos and who has been training, right? And not like official thing. And then Netflix has this match in like Las Vegas.
Millennials versus Gen Z.
Gen Z, it's a generational clash. But instead of, having things like, this is going to happen in Las Vegas, this is going to happen in Madison Square Garden or even Chinnaswamy, this was on Netflix.
I like how you put Chinnaswamy in there.
It is, right? And RCB fans, please, brownie points for me. We have now a system like that, right? Where Netflix is creating a spectacle, right? And it's completely, and people are watching.
Kailash, I thought I'll jump in. Like, we kind of talked about this in our earlier episode in Economies of Khel on WWE, where we were talking about the idea that, WWE seems to know what fans might want and creating a situation to bring them together. What you're saying about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul sounds to be very similar.
Right. I also feel they're building up a spectacle, right? This is something which, like you said, between Nadal and Alcaraz, things which might not happen. Yeah. But you're taking that, a sport event which might not happen.
But you want it to happen.
Happen.
Netflix is making it
happen. And Netflix is making it happen. So I would also like to bring us back to our episode, the first episode of this season. Guys, if you have not watched, the link is below. It's GPS. In that, where we defined sports, right? And let's take this Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson and see if it is sport. And I would argue it's not. Basically, there are people watching.
You are the expert in sport, yeah.
There are basically people watching. So there's audience. There is some kind of rules which are there. But what is missing, I feel, is the actual chance of sport, right? Nadal and Alcaraz might not have met, but if they were in a tournament, Nadal might have crashed out in the first round. Alcaraz might have crashed out in the third. We don't know yet, right? So I feel Netflix is taking away the risk of sport but also they are removing the risk, the chance of sport, where there are possibilities in the preliminary rounds that somebody might lose, might win, and then you have the final where these two people who have, defeated everyone have reached. But Netflix is like, let's take out all the boring matches. Let's just get center court one. And they're going to focus on that. And I think WWE pretty much, aligns with that kind of thing. Do you guys think once Netflix starts showing sports like this, the very authenticity or the spirit of the sport is lost, or is it still alive?
I think A2 is the right person to answer this question.
Yeah, so media has made a huge influence on sport over the last few decades, and that's something that we've discussed earlier. But I'm not too sure, about this. At some level, I feel like it's great for the viewer because the viewers are the center of what Netflix is thinking. They want to put up what the viewers want to see, like the Nadal and Alcaraz match. But there is also the idea of, like qualifying for a certain match, going through the rungs, and that itself created some tension for a sports fan, and that's somehow going away. So it's like it feels more like the social media culture of now. You just get instant gratification. You want that final moment that you dream of. You just want that. But once it's gone, it's gone. And I don't think it'll kind of create the memories that it created for us.
Like of underdog.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the best team suddenly in the finals collapses.
And some of the best things we have seen on sport are not scripted, right? And nobody could have thought of it. Here, somebody is thinking of what that thing is. Correct. So I'm not sure if that works.
So add to A2 that this idea of scripting, for me, I feel like it's a new kind of sports product that's been created on Netflix.
Okay.
So I would like to call it the Netflixization of sports, which essentially is that Netflix is very conscious that they're not showing just a sport. So like JioStar owns IPL, owns Cricket World Cup, Sony Live owns French Open, Wimbledon. They show the sports. The audience comes to watch the sport. Netflix is not showing a sport. If you notice all the products we discussed, they are products. And the products have certain qualities which I think is what defines this kind of phenomenon, which is that it opens up a different kind of audience. It's not just Formula One fans who are coming to Netflix. There are people who know nothing about Formula One who suddenly think, oh, this is an interesting person, it's interesting.
Yeah, and you can actually see the way in which they've gone about it in some sense. So regular OTTs are showing you a live event which everybody IPL, wants to watch. Netflix first went behind the scenes. What could be like drama takes the center stage, right? So drama in a regular sport, so they won't touch the regular sport. The Formula One is still happening, the sprints are still happening, but they're going behind the scenes. Now they've gone to the next stage where they're like, okay, forget the sport, we are going to create a center stage ourselves where drama is the main thing. And the sports people are characters, right? So it's kind of like, it feels like it's moving in more and more the direction of a viewer taking the main...
Wait, this is similar to what you were talking about, how a movie has a specific recipe, right? Netflix seems to be just making up a recipe for a drama, sports, center stage. And
there's no luck anymore, right? You don't have to wait for the best players to come together or qualify. And, I just want to add this. It's not just what they're showing, it's how they're placing it. So one aspect of Netflixization is the OTT platform allows you to present. So if you go now to Netflix, you'll find on top there are these live WWE events. Right?
So
which
like
is
Raw,
kind of,
SmackDown,
yeah,
all of that.
Raw, SmackDown. And then somewhere else you have documentaries. And then somewhere else you have something else. So how you're even going through this is very different from just like I am switching on 5 o'clock because Djokovic is playing Alcaraz. Instead I'm switching on like I feel a bit like this, let me find this. So it's like creating a palette for many people, different people to come. And I feel like that's one thing they're trying to do. They're not limiting the audience to those who follow the sport.
Yeah. Like other OTTs are following the other older, more
almost like cable TV kind of
thing.
Exactly.
Like there are documentaries about a team which won the previous season, but it's looking at it from a sports fan point of view. But I think these guys are looking at it from a much wider.
If you guys were in charge of Netflix and you could bring in 2 people to the center stage for drama, who would that be?
Maybe Neeraj Chopra.
And who would he be playing against.
The way things are going, Arshad Nadeem is the obvious option. So
I
if
would
I'm
watch
like
that.
the CEO and
Yeah.
I want viewership,
Just the event. Which
Just
who
the
was
event.
best.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like George Orwell said, sports is nothing but war without weapons. We can settle things like that. Who would you bring?
So I feel this is a lovely place to settle some debates, right? We've all said that the batsmen in the previous era were much better, and the technique of batsmen today won't last against bowlers from them. So yeah, bring on the 2007 T20 winning Indian team, and let's bring the 2024 T20 winning team.
Ooh, yes. Who do you think will win in that?
So if we can equalize by give the older veterans a little bit of boost,
Right.
then it's an easy win. Can you not imagine if Dhoni is behind the stumps, how many of the young people will sort of get nervous in their boots?
Yeah, I would bring in, I think I would want to see Jordan and LeBron fight it out one-on-one and make people bet on it, get people involved.
I am Vijayan and Sunil Chetri. Their main teams squaring off against
Yeah,
each
that'll
other.
be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would, bring in more Indian sports itself, right? Have celebrities play Kho-Kho, right?
It's true, actually. There are all these celebrity leagues now. Like Salman Khan
I would
team
love to
and
see Salman Khan play
Nagarjuna.
Kho-Kho, right?
and the other
They're
one.
not playing a sport right now.
Yeah, right. They're not. They have to play. Yeah. Audience, let us know who you want to see and who would you want to have center stage for Netflix to show. Comment below. We'll catch you next time. Please remember to follow Gameplay Sport. See you around.
You're listening to
आप सुन रहे हैं
You're listening to सुनो था
നിങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുന്നത്
ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ
ರೇಡಿಯೋ
ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಅಜೀಂ ಪ್ರೇಮ್ಜಿ
ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ